welcome to the present day. So, what has happened since the last time I recorded or posted? Not yarn or craft related, but I am like 6 months pregnant, so there's that. I guess regarding crafty yarn stash stuff, I had a bit of a... Hi buddy. This is Tucker, in case you haven't met him yet. He is a chocolate lab, approximately, I just round up to 90 pounds, but he's usually somewhere between 85 and 90, but he, yeah, his tail hits everything, and he very much likes attention. So he was napping, and then he heard me talking, so he ran out here to see what was going on. All the other YouTubers I follow have these cute little pets that they can just like pick up and put out of the video, but I can't pick him up. And if he wants to be in the video, like, he's gonna, yeah. Can you sit? Are you gonna sit right in front of the camera so I can't talk to it? You wanna sit? You sit next to me? Can you be cute for the camera? Oh yeah, look at that. Anyway, I think it was like maybe summerish time last year. I started to like hit a bit of like a slump. Like I lost my crojo or whatever, like my crochet mojo, whatever. Same with knitting, like making things just kind of, I got a little burnt out, I think. I think I was trying to do too many things. But I just basically kind of took a couple months off. Like, it wasn't till December, January-ish that I started to actually like work on things again. So a lot of the projects that I talked about in one of my like previous videos that I posted last year and reposted on this channel, I have a lot of the same projects in my queue still because I haven't made them because I took all that time off. So some of this will be review. You might see, well, you will see one project that I finished finally just a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I'll do a stash update and do some of the math to see where we're at, like total yarn wise. First off, I'll just kind of give you the math of where I'm at. I made a few things, and I'm not adding things that I just recently finished like yesterday. I figured I'll save that for a future update because they're not quite done yet. Overall, the things that I made from the hi. What page was I on? So I made a few things since I took my little break last year, but nothing like crazy major. A couple hats, a blanket, a little bag. And then I did finish one project that was in my previous stash busting videos. I'll show it to you. It's my Jasper Pullover, and it is fully blocked and dried. There's just a couple ends to weave in, so I just took it off the total because it's pretty much done. I haven't done a full try-on with it yet, like fully blocked and everything. It's roughly like a size large-ish, and I think since he's so comfy right now, I'm not gonna disturb him. I'll just put a little try-on video like over here somewhere. So now for the math. Can you put your head back down? I don't have anywhere to put my arm. Yeah, you can just lay down. So now for some math. For some math, if you will let me. So with all my subtractions, I started off, or ended off at my July stash busting video, or no, August? Yeah, it was August. It was my last one in 2024 where I did like a stash busting video. And I left off at 45,089 grams. So I can subtract all the stuff I made, which I have a note here, which is 1,445. And then I'll take off the Jasper Pullover, which was 878, which would bring us down to 42,766 grams. But there were a few additions. Like for example, I needed more of this gray yarn to finish this project. So I bought like 500 grams and I used over half of it, but I overestimated a little bit, so I have some of that left, but I'm just gonna add all of it since I'm subtracting half of it with this project. And then I've added a few other things that I'll kind of show you a little bit later in the video. But overall, the total additions are 835 grams, 43,601 grams. We convert that grams to pounds, so that is 96.13 pounds. So I think I started off at around 100 pounds of yarn, so it's like 4 pounds. When you think of that in grams, it sounds a lot more impressive. 4 pounds doesn't sound like much. But anyway, the new subtraction point is 43,601 grams, or 96 pounds. That is 1,538 ounces. So we still have a ways to go. So I guess that kind of brings me to my next topic. I think I'm going to continue my goal to use up and work through as much of my stash as possible. So I have a lot of projects that I have planned, but I also have some projects that I'm doing specifically to, well, I shouldn't say specifically to use yarn. I have projects and things I want to make that I've designed specifically to use yarn that I already have, if that makes sense. You just wait here a second. So one of my goals or like plans for this year is to make as many of these patterns in this book. That is from Joanne Ho on Instagram. It's Knitwear by Joan, but she wrote a book about with a bunch of like cabling knitting patterns, and I have some yarn that I want to use to make a couple of these patterns in the book. So the first one I kind of already started. So it's using the wool by We Are Knitters, which I purchased secondhand a couple years ago. So it's been sitting in my stash for a couple years. And I've already started, as I mentioned. This is like the bottom ribbing. So I think I'm making the extra large because I want to use up as much of this yarn as physically possible. Like, I don't want any left over, so I'm just making the biggest one I can possibly make. Will I keep it? I don't know the answer to that. Or it would be like a cute oversized like outfit for like the fall, and maybe put it over like some kind of long sleeve or something. But it's very pastel. Like, I was obsessed with like the color variation when I got it a couple years ago, but I'm very much more into like bright colors nowadays, which you can't tell by my current outfit, but it's just a little bit pastel, so we'll see how it turns out, see if it's something I would wear. but it might be something that I gift away. We'll see. The next one from the book, she calls it the Fern Pullover, which is the one on the cover of the book here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's just like a cute, oversized, just like a nice cable knit sweater. But I'm planning to use, you can't really tell what it is, but it's Drops Air. So it's like a blown yarn in this like pastel-y kind of dusty pink color. So I'm gonna make it in this color because I have a sweater quantity of it that I purchased several years ago to make something else, but I never ended up making that thing. So I'm gonna make this now. And who knows, maybe I'll end up dyeing it, maybe I'll just leave it this dusty pink color, maybe I'll give it away. I'm not sure yet. The last sweater that I have plans for currently in this book, she calls the, I believe, the Sagebrush Sweater. Here it is. It's this one here. And I actually have already made plans to make this for a friend, so I won't be keeping this one. Because this color here, the yarn that I have for it is much more like her color. I got this hobby, however you say it. I typically say hobby, but it's basically the upcycled alpaca blend, and it's in like this burgundy kind of color. It's not like a super deep burgundy, but it is like slightly variegated. It's really pretty. It's just not a color that I would wear personally, I guess. And then I found on Ravelry someone who had a couple balls of this mohair that like it would go really well together. So I think to make the size that I want, I'm going to need to find some more mohair. And we're back. The camera stopped recording, so where was I? I think I'm just gonna start back a ways and go from there. So this yarn is what I'm using for the Sagebrush Sweater, which is in this book, and I believe I covered everything else. Yeah? Anyway, this and this held together to make a sweater. This yarn is discontinued, so, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's discontinued, so I might have to peruse eBay and whatnot to try and find some more of it. So, we'll see how that goes, but in the meantime, when I get around to it, I'm just going to start making the sweater and cross that bridge when I come to it. So that's kind of the last pattern I currently have plans for in this book. There's a lot of like number 5 bulky weight patterns and I just don't have a lot of that in my stash currently. So, I mean, eventually someday I think I'll make them, but until then, that's it for now for this book. So my other plans for my stash are kind of all patterns that I've saved on Ravelry in like my queue or whatever. I'll link it below, so if you really want to see anything that I talk about on Ravelry, you can find it there. In no particular order, just by whatever is closest to me, I'll start going through those patterns. So a pattern that I've had my eye on for a while, but I've been scared to try because it uses a knitting technique that I've never tried before, is the Coast to Coast wrap by Two of Wands, which I believe I talked about in a previous video, but now I have yarn for it, and she released like a bunch of color combination pattern things for a different pattern she designed, but it was a 5 color pattern that she had designed and made all these color combos for, color palettes. And I found one that I liked and decided I would buy it for the Coast to Coast wrap. So this is kind of the color pattern we're working with. I believe she titled this palette like Beach Bonfire, so like you got the ocean, you got like the like fire kind of color, and then like the beach and the sand and the wood and beach bonfire. So that'll be pretty, and I'm sure you'll see it eventually, but I have not started it yet. I have yarn for it now though. Some of it I found on clearance at Joann's, probably. Rest in peace. And some of it I had to buy from their online, like the Lion Brand online web store, just to fill in the colors I didn't have yet, or they didn't have at the store. Next pattern I've had the yarn for a little while now, and it's from Explorer Knits and Fibers, and it's really pretty. Like, it feels like a shame to use it almost, which is tangent. I saw a post recently where, not even recently, like months ago at this point, but it's stuck in my brain for whatever reason, where somebody went to a estate sale or a consignment store, thrift store, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember if it was estate or where it ended up, but she found a bunch of super nice yarn, like all of the really nice stuff. Obviously it was someone who had passed and never used any of their nice yarn. The point of the post was like, use the nice yarn. Make the projects that you want to make with your nice yarn. Just do it. What are you waiting for? Stop using the crappy yarn that you got on sale at Joann's. Use the nice yarn. So I'm finally planning to make things with my nice yarn. So the pattern that I had in mind for this is a DK weight yarn, superwash merino, so it's super soft and squishy, is the Good Vibes Only top. I was a little bit hesitant, like, because with the big sleeves, like, would they be too heavy? Would they be too bulky? Would they be too flowy? Would I actually wear this thing? And I don't know the answer to that because I don't have it yet. But it is super cute, and I got these colors for it. It's a 4-color pattern, so I got kind of like this yellow, which she calls pollen. I got this like rich brown, which she calls tawny. And then a thing that she does is she makes colorways after a lot of national parks, not just US national parks. But this one happens to be one that I've been to and really enjoyed, which was Bryce Canyon National Park. So you can kind of see it's like this is the variegated one that I picked. These two are tonals. I really like orange, so it's got like some rusty orange and like some bluish colors and everything in it, so really pretty. But Good Vibes Only top on the docket this year. I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens. The next pattern is with yarn that I've also had for a long time. I think I got it for Christmas several years ago, and this dyer no longer even dyes yarn, so it's been a while since I got this yarn. But it's from Less Traveled Yarn, also another superwash. It is Horseshoe Bend, which is also in the same area as Bryce Canyon. One's Utah, one's Arizona, but the Southwest. A little bit of a theme there. But this one's got a little bit more blue because Horseshoe Bend is obviously a bend in the Colorado River that's probably in every calendar with nature stuff that you've ever seen. It's really cool in real life too. But I'm planning to make with this the Cargill Sweater. I'll link the information and everything because I can't remember who the designer is at this point in time. But it's the Cargill Sweater, and I have a sweater quantity of this fingering weight yarn. What I don't have is a mohair to go with it yet. So I've been back and forth on what color to use and to go with it because I don't want to take away from what it already has. And I, at the time, just wanted as much yardage as I could get for the dollars that was on the gift card. So the most bang for my buck, you could say. The next one is kind of a pattern that broke the internet a little bit in like this niche realm area. Like I feel like a lot of people just loved the pattern. It's the Heirloom Cardigan. So it's basically quilt blocks as a cardigan. So it's really neat. And I think Catherine Seeberger is the designer. And it was her first pattern that she's ever like published, and it was like massively popular, so congratulations. So my plan for this sweater, I don't have all of the yarn that I need for it yet. I've kind of just been collecting yarn that goes together, I guess. My goal is to use all superwash merino. I don't have a lot of merino. I don't have a lot of nice yarn in my stash. So I've been collecting it from other people's like stash busting sales or whatever. I found these two lovelies on Facebook Marketplace, somebody who was just selling off some stuff in their stash they weren't using. They're both fingering weight, which the pattern is made with 2 strands held together, or DK weight. So these are both fingering weight, and they'll be enough for making squares, but I don't think either would be enough for making a whole sleeve. And this one is a bundle of minis, and it'll be perfect for making little squares. This one's just a wad of orange yarn that I saw and I liked. And it is 80% merino and 20% silk. So that's cool. I've never really worked with silk before. And this one is 100% merino. I think when I saw these, I didn't intend like, oh yeah, Heirloom quilt cardigan, because I was originally intending to use different yarn years ago. Like in my previous video, you can see I had some different ideas, but I decided that I wanted something a little brighter and a little bit more fun. I also had some yarn in my stash that I got at a local yarn shop. I believe it's it's, you know the brand. But it's the, I believe the Rios, so it's like a DK weight. I'll hold up the other yarn. The orange and the green together with this, and this is kind of like orange, green, and like a little bit of like a darker brownish kind of color. I tried to use it for something else, so it's in a cake, and the other half of it is wound into a ball. But yeah, I think I'll use some DK, and then I'll use some fingering held together, double, and that's kind of how I'll put that sweater together. I'm still working on collecting yarn for that. I need a large quantity of it for either sleeve, so I may end up having to buy that new. I mean, who knows, maybe this would be enough for a sleeve. I would have to look at the pattern and see if I could deduce that, because this would be a fun sleeve. And then I think I would also need a larger quantity to do all of the ribbing. Again, I think the pattern goes through some of that and figuring out yardage and stuff, but I have not looked that closely, if I'm being honest. These guys have been through some stuff. You can tell they were in somebody else's stash and then shipped to me because they're a little wonky. And then I have a couple other things on my Ravelry queue. There's a couple dresses from Shop Daisy and Dime. I guess I'm a little hesitant to make them because my body is a lot different right now than it usually is, so it's like, should I make it for this body or should I make it for my regular body? I'm thinking regular body with maybe some room. We'll see. But I have a couple options yarn-wise for those. There's a couple dresses of hers I want to make. I think they're all in my queue, but I think stuff that I have enough quantities of is Hobby Rainbow Bamboo in like that mushroomy type color. And then I have a whole bunch of Lion Brand True Boo that I tried to use for a different project and it just wasn't working. So I ended up tearing that whole thing out, and now I just have a bunch of frogged yarn sitting in my stash of it. And it's like this color. I don't know what they call this color. Obviously none of these have the labels on them anymore because they're all frogged from something else. But it's like a mauvey, purpley, muted kind of color, if you can see that. But yeah, it's I have a bunch of it in my stash, so I should be able to make a whole dress with it. Yeah, I remember for this project, I had to keep going to Joann's to buy more yarn because I kept running out for this other project that I was working on. I just kept buying 1 or 2 at a time, like, oh, this will definitely finish it off. And it never did. So now I just have a ton of it that I just need to make a huge project with. So I think that's where the dress will be super handy. My forehead itches. And again, with the Hobby Rainbow Bamboo, I should have enough to make at least a mid-length dress, I would think. This I'll definitely have enough to make like a long dress. My face is itching again. I think I need more lotion. I should have plenty of yarn to make any kind of dress with them that I want to make. So we'll see what happens with that. They're in my Ravelry, so bye. See you later. Oh, hi. Need some chin scratchies? Do you need some chin scratchies? Can I finish my video? I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I only have one more thing. Yeah, I only have one more thing to talk about. I'm almost done. Hi. Can you come sit? I know you just got up, but sometimes you like to sit back down again. I know you want to do something. The last pattern that I kind of have tentative plans for is also in my Ravelry. And I just put it on like a week or 2 ago, but I knew about this pattern like years ago, like when it first was coming out. But I think I cannot remember for the life of me what it is called. Camaro Crop? It's like a beachy, loosely woven kind of thing. It's crocheted, but it'd be perfect for like summertime. It's from TL Yarn Crafts, I do remember that. And I have a bunch of this like cotton acrylic line brand, I forget what they call it, comfy cotton, and it's in like the Flower Garden colorway. I have a bunch of this because when I first started making things, I was obsessed with it, and I still really like it. It's got a lot of bright color and stuff in it, so I think it'll be perfect for something like this. I hope I have enough to make the whole project, but if not, I've got a ton of other cotton in my stash that I should be able to scrap something together. So it's kind of a little bit stash busty, a little bit, you know, I have this yarn, I should make something with it, but not too scrappy looking. I don't want it to be like super scrappy looking. So I'm hoping to use a lot of this. I might have to tear out some other swatches and stuff, but hopefully I'll use most of this. I haven't looked at the pattern super closely yet. I'm just estimating that I have enough yarn for it, but we'll see. Where was I going with this video? So I think that's everything that I have, like, somewhat of an inkling of the pattern and the yarn and stuff I have. It's my only like concrete plans. I have other stuff I'm working on right now, of course. Obviously, other ideas will come up. I'm planning to do a deep dive into my Pinterest to kind of come up with some things in a future video. Kind of look at my inspiration board and see if there's anything that I can kind of make from it, or a pattern that I can find that would fit the bill, but a future video. That's all of my concrete plans that I have right now. But yeah, there's plenty of projects on this list for me to get through. So yeah, I got a lot of plans. I always have plans for new stuff that I want to create or to make. And this video was only about like my yarn stuff I want to make. I didn't even get into like sewing or baking or all the gardening I want to do this year, which I am trying to cut back because my capacity for that will be kind of limited. That's kind of where we're at with the yarn stash this year. And I'm going to try to be diligent about finishing things so these stash videos are more exciting in the future. There's some things that I'm currently working on that I just need to finish before I start any of these things. I've started one of them already that I showed you at the beginning. So you'll see that probably in a future, like finishing my whips style video. But there's some other projects I didn't really mention that I'm already working on. Yeah, it's kind of a long list. I'm sure that this will carry me to 2026. Hopefully get a couple of these done this year. I know there's more on this list than I could possibly achieve in what's remaining in this year, but it's good to have goals, right? It's good to have goals. Goals with no deadline. Goals with no pressure. This is my hobby, and I want it to be fun and enjoyable, not feel like work that I have to do, if that makes sense. Like I have like a regular full-time job besides doing this. This is not my job. I think that's the end of this video. I'm just rambling at this point, so I might as well let you go. Go on and enjoy the rest of your day. Maybe watch another video on YouTube. Maybe it's one of mine. So if you want like some more backstory on my stash and whatnot, you can check those out. But from this point on, we are moving forward with the stash. We are getting rid of it. But yes, now I'm ending this video. That's it.